arrested and at least 2 other
In about
suspects
2.5,
sought in an
3.5
apartment
minutes.
garage shooting that killed one officer and wounded another last week. Police said 18-year-old Yoprani Martinez Fernandez
didn't
was
really
arrested Monday
like
in Cherry Hill, New
those.
Jersey,
Oh.
and was being held for extradition.
It's my ex-wife texting me to tell me she didn't really like the fried Brussels sprouts. I don't know if you want to work that in the show.
What? I'm sorry.
I'm babbling, ignore me. I'm warming my brain up before I have to sound like my brain's warmed up.
Trying to figure how the hell do I get out of this guy's stuff?
Reese's may be violating state and federal laws with a sweepstakes offer currently
I
advertised.
want to continue watching. Get out of there.
The promotion on 2-cup packages reads, "You could win $25,000," and in smaller print, see details inside. But only after consumers have bought and opened a package can they see the small print, no purchase necessary to win. The Reese's contest was first reported by Edgar Dworsky, a consumer
S
advocate and
Public.
former Attorney General
I
in
told you wrong. I thought it was under our
Massachusetts.
name.
Hershey Company, which
Oh, did you take time off the golf course to come see us today?
Just.
I called you back the other
You
day.
gotta,
Oh, it's been,
And
Better be a
is
good
it Donna?
men's
Is
shirt.
that your secretary's name?
Donna, yeah,
Yeah,
Donna.
she says, oh yeah, he's out golfing today.
Better
Yeah,
be-
if you pull up SB,
I already got it. I'm
good?
just trying to find.
It better be a hell of a wind shirt if you're playing golf in this.
No, he was out Friday on that beautiful. Was it Friday?
Oh,
yeah,
when it was
Friday.
nice.
Beautiful out.
Yeah, Friday.
So, did you do good?
I shot a 40
That's not
on
bad.
9 holes, so it was.
That's not bad. That'd be 3 holes for me shooting a 40. I used to be about a 55 on 9 holes.
Well, the last couple weeks I shot a 38 one week, a 37 the week before, a Blackhawk.
That's not bad.
All
Did
right.
you find it?
No, I'm trying to find live, and
We're streaming and just streaming the logo right now.
I never seem to be able to find this stupid thing when I need
Yeah,
it.
But that's not,
Yeah, until you get the phone, yeah.
yeah.
Mix of rain and showers Friday night.
All right.
We've still got a minute spot.
Have
All
fun
right.
storming the cats.
This newscast is being brought to you by the Village at St. Barnabas, a good place for mom. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Matt Derzacourt, Beaver County Radio News, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBBP, and streaming worldwide.
Come on, where's the live button?
Oh my goodness, Amy, it's so good to see you. Jennifer, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? Is your mom doing any better? Thank you for asking. I don't know if I can answer without being emotional. I'm sorry. I'm just tired and worried. I can't always be there for her, and it's so stressful. I really understand. That's how I was with my dad. I'd recommend calling St. Barnabas. We did. We started with just having them come in for home care. He was so excited to see them show up. And when he needed more,
Manual telephone set mode, move that, move that.
Yuktum Takalovich.
Did it work?
No,
All right, well,
no, I'm not
this
gonna worry
is,
about
this
it.
is on, listen, this is on ours. Just steal this.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah. Hang on. We're gonna start in about 10 seconds. I better come up with something. Oh, hell no. No, Tom's here. Hi, Tom.
Tom's here. Yes,
Tom's here.
absolutely.
I ain't gotta do nothing. I ain't hitting a lick. All right, I'm gonna switch you over to video live now. So get the nose picking out the way.
I got it cleaned out, so we're
Here
good.
we go.
We're good. Hi, everyone. This is Tom Young. I'm the financial coach for this station. Oh, 1 minute, 1 minute.
I believe that the term for this is chomping at the bit. Tom Young is my guest. Tom Young, if you were watching this on video, which it's on video, he already started. I love when you come in. I just told you off air. I ain't got to think of nothing. I just say, hi, Tom.
Hi, Eddie.
How are you?
I'm wonderfully terrific and getting better.
All right, that's almost like, is that double optimism or is that optimism squared?
It's optimism squared.
Okay.
I believe that you start every day, but with your own attitude. If you don't have a positive attitude in the morning, your day is going to go downhill very quick. So you have to figure out a way in your mind, because you're in control. What goes on with the 6 inches between your ears is really where the day is going to be. So if you let somebody mess with you, and you know, we talk. I have a very unique approach to the financial world, and the hardest thing that I have to do, Eddie, is to get people to open their mind and just listen and think a little bit, because they're so brainwashed by the financial world in everything that they do. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the truth today.
The truth?
The truth.
On a talk show? Are you mad?
Well, I guess maybe so.
You got to do it. I'm just going to sit here and go, oh, that's the truth.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Tom Young of First Consultants is my guest, and he's already wound up. We start with the prayer. You want to do the prayer first?
Yes, let's do
the prayer.
All right, let's do
the prayer.
Holy Father, we pray for those in Ukraine and Russia and now Israel and this stuff going on around the world. Lord, we do need your help. We offer our prayers for those in the last few years have been messed up and their health impaired by this COVID virus that has gone around the world from the Wuhan lab, which literally is under the control of the Communist Party of China. So we have to realize that and realize that, you know, we can draw our own conclusions to that. But we offer our prayers for everybody in the world, that the Lord would help these people find peace in their hearts, peace in their mind, and stop the destruction and stop the killing. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Absolutely. So I have lots of notes today, Eddie. I don't know how much of them we're going to get to.
Tom, you have notes all the time. You are one. And if you're handling my financial affairs, I like the fact that you're paying attention and taking notes. Detail-oriented stuff is impressive, especially in the world we live in.
Absolutely. You can reach me. I'm in Beaver, Pennsylvania at 1413 3rd Street. Phone number is 724-728-6820. I challenge you, give yourself a 45-minute opportunity. I'll make you 2 promises. I won't ask you to buy a thing, and there won't be a second meeting unless you desire it. I'm an author of several books, professional speaker, and I want to start out today. I want to ask a few questions and set the groundwork. So here's the first question. Are you 100% sure you're going to have a great retirement, or do you have some doubt?
Yes.
So there's the first question.
I'll answer.
Now,
a lot of doubt.
A lot of doubt. Okay. I think, Eddie, that is the answer that I get most of the time from everybody. And I question, why is that? Why is that? Well, let me ask a couple more questions around that. Well, how much money do you need to have when you get to retirement? And this is I guess a subjective question.
I have no answer for that. I don't know.
Who does, Eddie? Do you think anybody really does have an answer for that question? How much money do I need when I get there so that the money I have will provide income to me throughout the remainder of my lifetime with adjustments for inflation and leave some a little bit left over for the kids when I'm gone? How much money do I need when I get there? I don't think anybody knows that question, although I have all these initials after my name, and what they taught me was a process of gathering people's information, putting it into a computer, and making assumptions about everything. Well, here's the next question. How much interest do you have to earn on this money you're saving? Again, so that you'll have enough money when you get to retirement.
Can I know that? Because inflation's always changing.
Well, if you think of it, Eddie, the last 3 years, we've had almost 20% inflation in 3 years. So your dollar you had 3 years ago is worth about 80 cents today, based on the government's numbers. And we all believe the government and everything that they tell us.
We're back to the truth.
Back to the truth again. Absolutely. And now that brings me to another question. Do you really know when the date is?
No.
What is the retirement date? When is it going to be?
When they come and get me and say, bring a cardboard box for your stuff.
The question, Eddie, is in reality, let me say this, folks, the real retirement date today is age 87. 87, Tom?
Isn't that higher than the life expectancy?
It is the life expectancy.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
See,
All right.
so let's little journey back in time. 1890, a guy named Bismarck in Germany, was an economist in Germany, said that a German worker should be able to retire at 65 with a government pension of some kind of government stipends, so that he can actually retire and live out his life. Now, life expectancy in 1890, Eddie, was age 49.
Yeah.
So if you made it to 65, you were special.
You were already freaking
you were
people.
special.
Yeah,
Okay.
people are freaking out when you walk into church.
1933, Roosevelt instituted and brought into being the Social Security system in America. But what was going on in 1933? Weren't we in the middle of the Great Depression, as they refer to it?
We were trying to fight back and survive.
And the unemployment rate was like 25%.
And dust bowls. Yeah.
And so Roosevelt devised a plan, being a wonderful president that he was, as all politicians are. Politics, remember, that's poly is many and ticks are blood-sucking insects. Sorry, politicians, sorry. But here we are, and he created Social Security. Now, Social Security, the purpose was to buy the jobs off of the old guys, so that they would quit working and there would be jobs for the younger people. That was the whole innards of inside the crust on Social Security.
Younger up the workforce by paying off the old workforce.
We needed jobs for younger people, so how do I do that? So the government spends money and buys the jobs of older people so that younger people might have a job. I don't think it worked well, because the Depression supposedly lasted World War II, 1940, 1941, so it was a 10-year deal in what went on. But life expectancy, Eddie, in 1933 was 59 years old. So if you made it to 65, you were still pretty lucky.
You were the old timer.
You were the old timers. Yeah. And so here we are today, and up until a dozen years ago, 65 was the benchmark. And,
yes.
and it still is. You can actually retire as early as 62 if you have enough money. And the full retirement date today is age 67. So here you are. But what's life expectancy today, Eddie? It's age 84 for a male.
Is that what it is now?
And age 86 for a female. So here we are. We're thinking we're going to retire at 65 and live longer than maybe all the years that we worked. How much money do you think that's going to take, Eddie?
I have no idea, but it's mildly terrifying. It almost makes me think, okay, I got no interest in getting to the average. I can't afford it.
Well, what are the headwinds? In other words, we have some headwinds out there that are coming against us, and I'll list them. Okay, risk, taxes, regulations, inflation, and devaluation of the money. Now, you and I are supposed to save money and get ahead.
Right.
And I call it the silent tax. We were just talking about, it's called inflation.
Oh, okay.
So inflation is the transfer of value, not transfer of money, transfer of purchasing power to the government and the Federal Reserve.
Is money just paper arbitrary? It's the way we keep track. Because the way you just said stuck out, it's not the money.
The Federal Reserve prints money from nothing, and they buy assets out of the marketplace, bonds and government bonds and stuff. That's how the government gets money. The Federal Reserve, which is not federal in any way, shape, or form. They were originally, in my mind, I thought they were called the banking cartel. But they didn't think that would fly, so they got together with Congress. And this all happened when Congress was out of session. There was only a few people at the government to make these decisions. The Congress was not in full session when this came down.
So they just came back and, hey, we got a new thing? Oh, okay. That's crazy.
I guess that's what it's all about.
Crazy.
I guess that's what it's about.
But that's the truth.
So the key things that we have to do, the 5 elements that affect us most, are taxes, mortgages, qualified plans, college costs, and capital purchases. So those 5 things, everybody has to deal with those in one way or another. Agreed?
Oh, capital purchases is universal.
Well, that's buying cars, houses,
Yeah.
refrigerators, or whatever. That's a capital purchase.
You might not go to college, but you will purchase things in this world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, when I look at these 5 things, we have to think about the advice. In other words, people are advising us on how to do these 5 things. And the people that are advising us on how to do these 5 things, like myself, I have all these initials after my name.
Mm-hmm.
But my first job, my first gig was Tom's Auto Body. I was self-employed for 3.5 years. That was my first real job. I worked on Conrail, the railroad in Conway, I don't know, for a couple of years. And I left there and started my own business. So that's all I've ever known is being self-employed. So my thinking is different than other people's thinking.
Are you glad that that's the case? That it led you to
I'm
be
so
here?
glad that because I remember when I sold the auto body shop, I got bored with it. It didn't make me feel like I thought it would, owning that body shop, because I worked 12, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week on my own. I was never really good at hiring people at that time, and because I had no experience. And
True.
that's the challenge today. If you're trying to do something you've never done before, do you have a mentor in your life? Have you found somebody that you can believe in and trust that is there to give you some guidance? Because when I had the auto body shop, I couldn't go down the street to Baldinger's over in Rochester and ask him, how do I do this?
No.
You know, he would give me advice. No, this is the center idea here. What advice would he give me? Would he give me advice that would make me successful? Or would he give me advice that,
You're getting advice that's going to end up getting that car over to him complaining about you.
Absolutely. So with that, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back, and I'll set it up before we go into the news, and because that's what's coming. I'm going to prove to you today what's going on that guarantees you to be in the 95% of being dead or dead broke.
I do nothing when Tom Young is here. It's absolutely brilliant. All right, no, you're still on camera. You're still
All
on
right.
camera. You're still on camera. You're still on camera. No, you're not. Okay. Yeah, he's going to tell you how to mess up that man's engine. Is what he's going to tell you.
Think about that, Eddie. And
He ain't taking money out of his pocket.
don't we look for coaches and advisors in every part of our life?
I don't know if we look for them. I just hope we're smart enough. I
They
don't
show
think
up,
we're-
though.
while they show up, I hope they're smart enough to recognize when they show up.
Well,
Because they do show up.
That's the point of today's show. Because everything that you do that leads you down the broke road, you think is good advice, and the people that are giving you that advice have 4 rules. Remember the 4 rules. I want all your money run going, keep it
As
for a
long
long
as you
time,
can and give
back as little as possible.
Staying informed of
All right.
information is a
6.
necessity, especially in an emergency. Believe it or not, the power to stay informed and be aware of.
This is a perfect example of when they give you 47 seconds of copy and it needs to be 60 seconds long.
Urges you to sign up.
I sound like I'm on methadone.
Message alerts today. It's quick and easy, and once you enroll, Amber Alerts, weather emergencies,
I'm
and
trying to
valuable
burn
safety warning and important news bulletin
as much
updates
as I
will
can.
arrive as text messages in your cell phone. Sign up
Kill
now by
that.
visiting beavercountypa.gov.
that.
It's free, and it
There's
can
what
be
I'm
a
looking
lifesaver for you or somebody else in trouble. Put your fingertips
Oh my
away
God,
from
this
your
is
phone
so
and
horribly
use the
bad.
Notification alert device. Beaver County Emergency Services,
bad?
along with
This
other
read,
organizations,
I sound like I'm on methadone. This is the commercial.
So sign up today.
This is the commercial that they gave me, and the script was literally a third too short. They said
So
it
you
has
had
to be
to-
60. You just talk real slow and bad. All right, when we come back, can I give you
There's a Heritage Valley facility nearby. Heritage Valley.
Can I give you about 2 minutes and
That's
then get the
fine.
news?
That's plenty.
Okay.
That's plenty.
All right, coming back after this 30, I'm going to switch you over on video.
Tune in all season long as the revamped Pittsburgh Penguins are on a quest to win their 6th Stanley Cup championship. Penguins
Stand by.
County Radio is being brought to you by the St.
Well,
Margaret's
let's
Health
just
System,
do this.
Falcones
Let's
Home
just do
Township
this.
Board, Patriot Home Care,
No, let's not do
Friendly Federal
this.
Credit Union,
Stand by.
the Keystone Wellness Program, and Beaver County Radio.
It is Teleforum, and it is a Tom Young day. Tom Young of First Consultants. He comes in with about once a month, and I just have the best time. One, I just sit and listen and learn, and two, I have the best time. We're talking about the truth, and a couple of minutes before news. Set up what we're going to talk about in the next half hour, because I know, and I want to get into it now, but we got to do news. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry about that. Let me say this. A little quote. We didn't do a quote yet. What we see is an interpretation of the mind. We have to train the mind to interpret what we see. That's what we're talking about today. The 30,000-foot view about the next segment after the news is there's 3 big problems that we have to deal with. One of them is people are living longer today, obviously. Number 2, fewer people are paying into the system. There's 160 million people that were workforce in 2000. Today it's 161 trillion. 161 million.
Really?
Today. So it's about 1 million more workers. But the population in 2000 was 280 million. Today it's 335 million. And how many 20 million migrants and so forth floating around out there. And the third one is America's inability to save, because people are not taught how to save. So putting money in a 401k, in my mind, is not saving. You're feeding the government and you're feeding Wall Street in what's going on. So we're going to come back after the news and we're going to talk about all of this stuff, and I'm going to tell you the truth about all of it.
They say all good things come to those who wait. So if you've been putting off buying your new truck, there's never been a better
That
time
sounded
to
like it was right on the
Township
button.
Ford. October is spectacular savings.
Oh, way better than usual.
In-stock
Yeah.
2023 Ford
Yeah.
F-150s. Savings up to $5,000
Switch.
off MSRP.
No, my OCD is going to bring this up. It's going to be, looks like 14 seconds off.
Not all customers
Too much or too little?
Over. What the hell? Now, I will point out now, this clock and that clock are about 8 seconds different. So,
My Rolex said we were right on the money.
I trust that more than either one of these.
And I said it's set by the internet,
Yeah. Every morning, when you come in here, that's what I was doing during the commercial before we started. You have to come in, shut down this software, turn off, then back on the clock, then restart the software, because it loses, or it adds time. When nobody does it over the weekends, you come in on a Monday, and it can be 17, 18 seconds off. And if you're trying to get to network news, you got to be on it. But this thing it adds 2 or 3 seconds about every 12 hours. And that, they had that on European, well, no, when it switches to 1 o'clock, it's not 1 o'clock, it's 1,300 hours. They've got that on.
Oh yeah, the military
Yeah,
time.
and
Global time.
the day month thing is Euro. They've got the month first, unless they changed it. Yeah, they've got the day first. Here we do the month.
That's military.
He ordered the European version of the clock. Like, hey, I don't care.
But Johnson didn't budge.
All right.
It wasn't until the use of a robot along with a
Did you hear what the FBI said the other day?
I know they're sick of Biden shit.
Well, I know, but you think all these military-aged men with no wives or children coming across the border could be sleeper cells?
Well, I think any human being that comes across illegally, you should
killed one officer and
Well, you shouldn't be coming across illegally,
Police said 18-year-old
but you have no idea who's coming across.
No, and
My daughter lives
nobody's getting vetted
My daughter
at all.
lives in Chicago, one of the most liberal big cities on the planet. And she said people there are getting sick of it. They're just dropping off bus loads of people. There you go. And she said it's honestly sad. These people think every human being in the United States is rich.
Oh, yeah.
And she speaks Spanish, and she's had conversations, and the assumption is, you know, they'll ask her, you got $1? And she'll stop and talk to them and say, no, look. She also helps the homeless people. 3 nights a week she goes out with a stab vest to pass out socks and shit. My daughter's a trip, but she said she won't give them money. It's like, I don't have money. I'm on strike right now. I'm living off my parents.
What's she do?
She's a writer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and student, but she's a writer. That's where she makes her money. But she explains, I don't have the money to give you, but basically, look at me. Do I look rich to you? Not being snotty, having a conversation. Every illegal that's getting dropped off believes if you're an American, you're rich. And it's like, she says it's annoying,
I think
it's kind of sad.
there are really big riots coming
Oh, it wouldn't
by
surprise
the
me at all.
immigrants, because there was one just the other day. This guy said, well, where's my job? Where's my this? Where's my that? You know, and
Well, there are jobs. They won't pay American money, run a landscaping business without illegals. Good luck. Run a roofing business without illegals.
yeah.
I watched the house, the little cottage right behind me, got a roofing job done. One Saturday morning, a truck rolled up, 12 or 13 Mexicans, because I went over and asked. And the lady was running the crew. That roof was peeled, totally replaced, and they were gone in 7 hours. They swarmed on it.
You say that because my neighbor across the street from me, they just had their roof done last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking a big house, like a 3,000, 3,500 square foot, big house in Beaver, big roof. They were done in 1 day.
Yeah.
And I heard the one guy talking in Spanish or
Yes.
Mexican.
These dudes, because I watched them, and I'm like, they ate. Guys were throwing their bags of food up. They're eating. It took less than 8 hours to do a roof, and now it's probably 1,300 square foot, so it wasn't huge, but I never saw anybody not working. And the Mexican lady that drove the truck, she was in charge, dude. She was the one handing out the sandwiches, but they showed up and gone. So, all right, I'm going to hit a rejoin, and then I'm going to come back to you, and you do the. I ain't got to tell you what to do. You know what to do. It's like, Tom, I'm going to go. I'm going to babble. Stand by. Here's the phone. Stand by. Back on camera now. What is happening on Teleforum at 25 minutes till 10? It's 49 degrees outside, and Tom Young of First Consultants is with me inside. And the first time, it always does. It always does. Anytime I get talking to you, the time flies. We already burned up a half hour, so I want to get to it. What are we getting to?
Absolutely. Well, let me say this. There's the opportunity of the month, because on October 26th, I'm doing a seminar. And you know, the paradigm shift that equals financial success, the secret single product that avoids taxation and government confiscation. This is a product that is used by the banks in the back room, corporations, and it is hidden from the American public. Very few people have found out about this product. So this seminar is going to be live at Seven Oaks at 6 o'clock. You got to call to get a reservation. We're going to serve hors d'oeuvres and refreshments and desserts and an hour of free truth. And with that truth comes the mathematical proof of everything. And I've always said this, folks, you've listened to me. I have a $1,000 reward challenge. If anything I say on here, you can prove that it is wrong, it is not the best thing to do, come on. And if you can prove it, but I'm going to tell you, don't bring Aunt Mary's idea or Billy Bob from Work's idea, bring your calculator, because it has to be provable. I'm a licensed fiduciary, and I would not give anybody advice that if I were in the same shoes that I wouldn't do for myself. So mark your calendar, call the office at 724-728-6820 and make a reservation, give her your email at the office so we can send you the information and the invite. This is a free seminar. We're going to serve food while we're there, unbelievable, and I'm going to change your life. Now, be aware, this is also a Zoom live presentation. So I work in 38 states across the country, so this is going to be a national Zoom presentation. So if you're not local in the area and you don't want to make a trip to Beaver, to Seven Oaks Country Club for this seminar, it will be live streamed as a Zoom, but you need the Zoom link in order to participate and do that. So this is just the beginning announcement, and it's October 26th at 6 p.m.
I'm still trying to figure out what it is. That's going to eat at my brain.
It will. I may give you some ideas today on what I'm talking about, but it is the secret of all secrets. And we were just talking about people living longer and fewer people paying into the system. I picked up something out of my archive file. Now this is from 2014, Eddie, and this is. Be decisive, even if it means you'll sometimes be wrong. Here are the facts.
I'm good at that.
Like it or not, Obama increased our national debt over $16 trillion. Blame whoever you choose. The U.S. pays, now this is in 2014, pays $30 billion each month, every month, in interest on that debt. Also allowed to close loopholes, to increase taxes, and your retirement accounts are on the hit list. And there was $5.1 trillion in 401k accounts at that time. And if the government stubs its toe and the emergency arises, do you think they could change the law and take your 401k? I mean, that would be massive riots in America, I believe, if that happened.
But they've
talked about this.
They wouldn't do it in one fell swoop.
It would be a national emergency. In other words, some cataclysmic thing going on.
They would do it with fees and taxes. They'd whittle away at it so as to not cause what you say.
Absolutely. Now, the point there is $30 billion a month, Eddie.
Yeah.
$30 billion a month, $360 billion in a year in interest.
I could make my rent.
Today, the debt is $33 trillion. 33.562. I got the numbers.
I know you do.
33.562. They spent $6.270 trillion, and the revenue was $4.327. So just about $2 trillion more. They spent 30% more than they took in revenue.
That's not a sustainable business model, is it?
I really don't think so,
Yeah.
Eddie. The unfunded liability turned $194 trillion in 1 month. That was a $700 billion increase in 1 month since last month. So that is $10 trillion increase in 1 year. Now, last year, between the debt and the unfunded liability, it actually increased $24 trillion last year.
$2 trillion.
Where do we go with this, Eddie? People are sitting there and
we go broke. We are broke.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you and I in going broke? What does it really mean? The government's broke. Mm-hmm. They run out of money. They were talking about this stuff going on in the world right now, and maybe the fuse is actually lit on what could be around the corner with everything going on. So I don't know. But I don't want to get into that 30,000 foot view too deep, because you can conjure up all kind of witchery and witchcraft in that 30,000 foot view.
Yes, you
but what
can.
I want to talk about is I want to talk about the advice. You know, we ended the before the news with, where do we get our advice? What's going on? What are we being told? If I take taxes, I don't think anybody pays the right amount of taxes. I have it in my archives. Several years ago, I found, you remember Money Magazine? It's not around anymore, but Money Magazine did this program one year, and they did it 3 or 4 years in a row. And what they would do is they interviewed the 100 best tax preparers in the country. They were people that they quantified and they did research and said, okay, these are the 100 best.
They get you the most money, they've shown it.
Right,
Gotcha,
and so they gave
Right.
these 100 tax preparers
Okay.
a sample, and I think the income was $175,000 a year in the household. You know, upper middle income family, not rich, and here they were. Now, out of those 100 people, how many of them got the tax right? And out of the 4 years they did this, 1 year, there were 2 that got the tax due correct.
Got it completely. Everything that was there to save, they found everything and they saved
And the
it.
difference in the
2.
tax due between the highest and the lowest was over $25,000. Between the highest and the lowest recommendation tax preparation.
And these were the 100 best at doing this.
These are and were supposedly the best tax preparers in the land at that time. So are you paying the right amount of tax?
No.
Nobody is.
Okay.
So
How much-
that's a big problem. We pay more tax than we need to pay. How do we do? Well, a lot of people, even myself included, don't keep excellent records. In other words, in a year, there are a lot of things in the tax code. Now, the gift from Trump is this new tax code where if you're a married couple, you get like $24,000 right up front in a tax reduction, tax income reduction. So instead of filing long form like you used to, and you come up with $21,000 of deductions, so you use that and you did the long form, you paid the accountant a lot more money to do the long form
I remember
than the
the
short
long
form, so your expenses were more. And I believe most people fall into this category now that you can actually do a short form. If you're a married couple, you take $24,000. Now that has been indexed. It's around 24, almost 25. And if you're over 65, you get even more. So it's 25.3 or 25.4 right off the top. So you reduce your income, and so that's tax savings. So that's one of the things to understand in the way we pay taxes. You have a question? You're scrunching up.
I'm always scrunched up. I got several questions.
All right.
Why? Go ahead. It's swimming in my head because there's so many things you said there that are interesting to me.
Well, how do you
Does the government-
how do you know you paid the right amount of
Well,
tax?
I
Ed?
don't. My question is this, and it may be drifting off a second. Is it so difficult on purpose, or was it conscious overdoing and ineptitude with the tax codes, or was it just happenstance that it was a
You tell
government
me, Eddie.
gig?
How big is the tax code? How many thousand pages is the tax code?
When you mentioned the long form, I instantly started shaking from back in the day when I was learning how to do that. It was horrible.
Well-
you give up money to not have to keep filling out the forms.
That's right. And if you are charitable, if you do this quick way that we're talking about, you don't get the tax deduction for charitable contributions unless you do the long form.
Unless you
So
fill out
if
the
you're a
form.
tither, you give the X to the church or to wherever, you're going to be limited. And I don't, for the life of me, I don't understand. I saw a number yesterday that there was the amount of charitable contributions in America. And don't hold me to this, I'm trying to remember. And I thought it was somewhere around $535 million that was donated to charities. by consumer. It's either that or 535 billion.
I gotta go with million.
I will have the answer next month.
Okay.
But that's the charitable gifts that are done. And because the tax code decided to penalize people for giving to charities,
Make it a bigger hassle.
isn't that part of this big thing that we've been talking about for a long time, the socialism of America and the world? And if you don't believe me, look it up, the Fabian Society. You want to look it up, it's there, it's out there, and I won't go into it now, but you need to go there. That's taxes. The next thing we got to deal with is mortgages. You know, I don't know, 60-some% of the people own homes. So they obviously had a mortgage in the beginning in the way they did it. So if you're going to get a mortgage, what do you think the typical advice is to get a mortgage? Should you get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage or a 15-year fixed rate mortgage or even an ARM? I had a client come in a month or so ago. He without consulting, he's been a client a long time. He's a professional. And so he got an ARM, an adjustable rate mortgage, 7 years ago. And what's happening to the interest rates right now, Eddie?
They're getting adjusted and not in
He
his
just
favor.
got notified his $600,000 mortgage went up monthly by $2,400 a month.
So almost 30,000 more than last year.
Than the last 7 years. He got this thing. So every 7 years they can adjust your mortgage and adjust the interest and the payment. So I was able to get him a 6% fixed 30-year mortgage with Farmers in Rochester. Farmers is the secret of all banks in Beaver Valley. Farmers is just, they're amazing. My mortgage is there. And redo his mortgage. He already had a mortgage, so they were just moving it to there. Was $100.
That's, oh my God.
That was the cost. So I was able to save his butt and get him to do that. But if you apply macroeconomics to a mortgage, now if I make this statement, a 15-year mortgage, you will pay less interest than a 30-year mortgage. That is an absolute correct statement, Eddie. However,
I'm paying the interest half the amount of time.
Well, you are, but you're paying it down quicker. So you're actually going to pay less interest on a 15-year mortgage than you would on a 30-year mortgage. However, mortgages are macroeconomic. There are tax benefits in a mortgage. And you also have to take into consideration opportunity cost on those savings. And you also have to take into account inflation. My 30-year mortgage, I figured out I'm right now in about the 15th or 16th year of a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. When I set it up and I looked at the dollar and the value of that dollar in the first month of the first year, in the 360th month, using only the government's figures at 3% average inflation, excluding the last 3 years. Other than the last 3 years, the historical average is right around 3%. So at 3% inflation per year, a dollar is worth 32 cents in the 360th month. So do you understand why I'm excited about that last payment I'm going to make to the bank?
Absolutely, I am.
So when you apply the mathematics correctly, you get the correct information. And a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, if you understand there's a difference between the 30-year mortgage and a 15-year, the payment for the 15-year mortgage is obviously much higher.
Sure.
So if you just take the difference in the payment between the 15-year and the 30-year and save it at 4% interest, 3.6 really, you'll have enough money in the 15th year that you can still pay off the 30-year mortgage if you like to, but you had control of all that extra money for the first 15 years, could have avoided getting a car loan at the bank. See, you got to think the big picture, the 30,000-foot view, because every decision I make about my money in some way, it's a rippling effect that ripples through other things that I may not be aware of. That's why you need an advisor like me. And I just blow my horn because it has to be applied with macroeconomics.
How much do you think people are told wrong versus how much people aren't told.
Well, the next one is qualified plans.
There you go.
401ks, and I just had a conversation with somebody the other day, actually yesterday in my office, and he's putting in the maximum into the 401k. I said, well, how much of a match do you get? He says, well, they match 6%, but he says, I put all I can in, so he's putting $22,000 into his 401k, which is a lot extra above the match. I says, can I ask you a question? Do you have any access to that money between now and when you retire? Not really.
Yes.
Not without
maybe.
taxes
There
and
you
maybe
go.
a severe penalty
There you go.
if I'm not 59 and a half years old. Okay, so if you need to buy a car, where do you get the money to buy a car? I go to the bank, and have you ever had a car loan? He said, well, yeah. And he says, I'm going to need a new car here in the near future, so I'm going to have another car loan. Do you think paying that interest to the bank has a negative effect of lost money, lost opportunity cost, because you don't have access to the capital that you're building in the 401k?
Yeah.
Well, now another question.
Yeah.
Do you think taxes
Numbers
in the
are
future
moving.
are going to be higher or lower than they are today?
I think they're going to be higher, and we're all going to be butterflies and lollipops.
Do I need to go back to the 33 trillion in debt and
Exactly.
194 trillion of unfunded liability? The government is scrambling right now to figure out how to come up with money in really creative ways that you aren't even aware of.
And that's
in what's going on.
Taxes.
So what I hear from people, what I say, well, if I don't put it in my 401k through my paycheck, I don't save it. I said, well, that's a discipline problem. That is another kind of problem altogether.
I think my daughter has a great term. That's a you problem.
That's it.
That's a you problem. Just go ahead and
That's a
say
you
it.
problem. That's a you problem. And I can see we're down to like 7 minutes, and we go from qualified plans, and I could go more on that, but let's talk about college costs.
Okay.
I think college costs and colleges are the biggest ripoff in America. I didn't go to college. I mean, I have all these designations, so I did it online. I did it personal. I didn't go to a college to get any of this education I have. Other than I have 2 years at Beaver County Community College. Way back when I was in my 20s, I wanted to be a state trooper, so I'm about 6 credits shy of an associate's degree in criminal justice. And the greatest class there I loved was interview and interrogation. So,
You know what? I could see that with you a little bit.
so here's a story about college costs done my way. If you have my book, The Family Money Farm, the CFO Project, you can get it by going to cfo-project.com, put in your name and email address, and you'll get it free. But this couple, I met them 22 years ago. Long story short, they have $1 million of cash value today in a life insurance policy, and they use that cash value to leverage it to pay for college. Son's going to pay mom and dad back after he goes to work someday. And isn't that the beginning of his tax-free retirement? Because mom and dad get to die someday for sure, and those policies are going to pay an absolutely tax-free death benefit.
Yeah.
We're out of time, aren't we, Eddie?
Yes, sir. But you do know you can come back anytime, right?
I know that, Eddie. I know. I love coming here and doing this.
Tell people how to get in touch with
You
you.
can reach me at firstconsultantsinc.com on the web. We have a huge website with all educational information on it. Call the office at 724-728-6820. I dare you to call and make a 45-minute appointment. Give me an opportunity to change your life.
Tom Young on Teleforum. You're the best, boss.
God bless.
Wait. Kill